Do you ever feel like your brain has no pause button? Like you're constantly fighting against impulses that seem to control your life instead of the other way around? If you have ADHD, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That moment when you interrupt someone mid-sentence, make an impulsive purchase you can't afford, or say something you immediately regret. You might find yourself clicking "buy now" at 2 a.m. for things you don't need, or blurting out responses in meetings before thinking them through. What if I told you that 7 specific vitamins could help you regain control over these impulses naturally, without relying solely on medication or willpower? I'm Dr. Emily Thompson, and after 12 years of working with ADHD patients in my clinical practice, I've seen how the right nutritional support can be an absolute game changer for impulse control. Today, I'm sharing the exact 7 vitamins that have helped thousands of my patients feel more in control of their impulses and their lives. These aren't random supplements. They're scientifically backed nutrients that specifically support the brain regions responsible for self-control and decision-making. But first, I want you to comment below and tell me, what's the most impulsive thing you've done this week that you wish you could have stopped yourself from doing? Was it a purchase, something you said, or maybe a decision you made too quickly? Your story might help someone else feel less alone in this struggle. This video is specifically for you if you have ADHD and you're absolutely exhausted from feeling like you're at the mercy of your impulses. Maybe you've tried medication, therapy, mindfulness techniques, or countless self-help strategies, but you still find yourself acting before thinking on a regular basis. You might relate to buying things online at midnight that you don't need and can't afford, interrupting conversations without meaning to, or making decisions that your rational brain knows aren't the best choice. Perhaps you've quit jobs impulsively, ended relationships in the heat of the moment, or said things that damaged important relationships. If you're nodding along right now, feeling that familiar mix of recognition and frustration, you're definitely in the right place. Before we dive into these 7 life-changing vitamins, if this content is already resonating with you, and you can see how it might help transform your relationship with your impulses, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me reach more people who desperately need this information, and I promise you're going to get practical, science-backed advice that you can start implementing today, not months from now. I deeply understand that living with ADHD impulses isn't just inconvenient, it's absolutely exhausting and often devastating. You might feel embarrassed about your reactions, frustrated with yourself for doing it again, or worried about how your impulsivity affects your relationships, work performance, and financial stability. The truth is, your brain is wired differently, and traditional advice like "just think before you act" or "count to 10" often doesn't work for the ADHD mind because our brains process information and make decisions differently. That's exactly why I'm focusing on nutritional strategies that work specifically with your unique neurology, not against it. These vitamins support the actual brain chemistry and neural pathways involved in impulse control, giving you the biological foundation you need to make better decisions consistently. Let me share with you the 7 vitamins that can help you control impulsivity with ADHD based on both solid scientific research and my 12 years of clinical experience working with patients just like you. Vitamin B6, the impulse regulator. Vitamin B6 is absolutely crucial for ADHD brains because it serves as a cofactor in producing neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. When these neurotransmitters are balanced and functioning properly, you have significantly better impulse control and emotional regulation. Many of my patients with ADHD are deficient in B6 without even knowing it, and this deficiency can make impulsivity dramatically worse. This vitamin helps your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making, impulse control, and executive function, operate more effectively. When your prefrontal cortex is well supported nutritionally, you're much more likely to pause and consider consequences before acting. You can find B6 in foods like chickpeas, tuna, chicken breast, bananas, potatoes, and fortified cereals. However, many people with ADHD need higher amounts than they can reasonably get from food alone. I typically recommend 25-50 mg daily for adults with ADHD, but always consult with your healthcare provider first, especially if you're taking other medications. Some people need higher doses, but too much B6 can cause nerve problems, so professional guidance is important. One patient told me that after adding B6 to her daily routine for just 3 weeks, she finally stopped buying coffee 3 times a day on impulse and could actually pause before responding to emotionally charged emails. She said it felt like someone had installed a thinking space between her impulses and her actions for the first time in her adult life. Magnesium, the calming mineral. Magnesium is like a natural chill pill for your nervous system, and it's one of the most important minerals for ADHD impulse control. Most people with ADHD have lower magnesium levels than neurotypical individuals, and this deficiency can make impulsivity significantly worse. Magnesium helps regulate your nervous system and supports the production of GABA, a neurotransmitter that helps you feel calm, centered, and in control of your responses. When you're magnesium deficient, your brain is essentially in a state of constant hyperarousal, making impulse control nearly impossible. Your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight mode, which means you're reacting to everything as if it's an emergency. Magnesium helps shift your nervous system into a rest and digest mode, where you can actually think clearly and make deliberate choices. The best forms for absorption are magnesium glycinate or magnesium citrate, around 300-400 millimeters daily for most adults. Magnesium oxide is cheaper but poorly absorbed, so it's not worth saving money on inferior forms. You can also get magnesium from dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, dark chocolate, and Epsom salt baths. Many people notice the calming effects within a few days of starting supplementation. I've had patients tell me that magnesium supplementation helped them stop impulsively checking their phones every few minutes, actually finish tasks they started without getting distracted, and have more patient responses with their children and partners. One patient said, "It's like the volume got turned down on my internal chaos." Vitamin D, the mood stabilizer. Vitamin D deficiency is incredibly common, especially in people with ADHD, and it has a direct impact on impulse control and mood regulation. Your brain has vitamin D receptors throughout areas that control executive function, decision-making, and the emotional regulation. When you're deficient, these critical brain areas don't work optimally, leading to poor impulse control, mood swings, and difficulty making good decisions consistently. Research shows that people with ADHD are more likely to have low vitamin D levels, and correcting this deficiency can significantly improve symptoms. Vitamin D also helps regulate inflammation in the brain, which can affect how well your neurons communicate with each other. I strongly recommend getting your vitamin D levels tested through a simple blood test. Most adults need 2,000-4,000 IU daily, but the exact amount depends on your current levels, body weight, skin color, and geographic location. If you're severely deficient, you might need much higher doses initially. Spend time in sunlight when possible, and consider eating fatty fish, egg yolks, and vitamin D fortified foods. One of my patients discovered her vitamin D was severely low at just 12 ng/ml when optimal is 50-80 ng/ml. After 3 months of appropriate supplementation, she noticed she could actually pause and think before making big decisions, instead of acting on every impulse that crossed her mind. She stopped making impulsive, major purchases and began thinking through job changes instead of quitting in moments of frustration. Omega-3 fatty acids, brain food for focus. While technically not a vitamin, omega-3 fatty acids are absolutely essential for ADHD brains and impulse control. EPA and DHA, the 2 most important omega-3s, help build healthy brain cell membranes and support optimal neurotransmitter function. They're literally the building blocks your brain uses to create and maintain the neural networks responsible for self-control. Research consistently shows that people with ADHD often have lower levels of omega-3s in their blood and brain tissue, and supplementation can significantly improve impulse control, focus, and emotional regulation. Omega-3s also help reduce inflammation in the brain, which can interfere with proper brain function. I recommend 1,000-2,000 gross combined EPA and DHA daily, with a higher ratio of EPA to DHA for mood and impulse control benefits. You can get these from fatty fish like salmon, sardines, mackerel, and anchovies, or from high-quality fish oil or algae-based supplements if you're vegetarian. Walnuts and flax seeds provide some omega-3s too, but they contain ABLA, which your body must convert to EPA and DHA, and this conversion is often inefficient. Patients consistently tell me that after a few weeks of omega-3 supplementation, they feel like their brain fog lifts and they can actually think before they act. One patient said, "It's like someone cleaned the windshield of my brain. Everything just became clearer and I could see consequences before making decisions." Vitamin C, the stress buffer. Vitamin C might seem like a basic vitamin, but it's incredibly important for ADHD impulse control, because it helps manage stress hormones like cortisol and supports adrenal function. When you're chronically stressed, your impulse control goes completely out the window, because stress hormones literally impair the prefrontal cortex's ability to function properly. Vitamin C helps your adrenal glands function optimally and supports the production of neurotransmitters like norepinephrine and dopamine. It also helps your body absorb other nutrients better, making your entire supplement routine more effective. People with ADHD often have higher stress levels and may need more vitamin C than the general population. I recommend 500 to 1,000 microliters daily from both food sources and supplements. Great food sources include citrus fruits, berries, bell peppers, broccoli, strawberries, and kiwi fruit. Many processed foods and chronic stress deplete vitamin C stores. So if your diet isn't optimal or you're under a lot of pressure, supplementation becomes even more important. One patient shared that after consciously increasing her vitamin C intake through both food and supplements, she stopped stress eating junk food in the middle of work days and could handle work pressure without making rash decisions like sending angry emails or quitting projects impulsively. Zinc, the focus enhancer. Zinc is involved in over 300 enzymatic reactions in your body, including many that directly affect brain function and impulse control. Many children and adults with ADHD have zinc deficiencies, and this can significantly worsen hyperactivity, impulsivity, and attention problems. Zinc helps regulate dopamine function and supports the prefrontal cortex, the brain region most responsible for impulse control. Research shows that people with ADHD often have lower zinc levels in their blood and hair compared to neurotypical individuals. Correcting zinc deficiency can lead to noticeable improvements in hyperactivity and impulsivity, sometimes within just a few weeks. You can find zinc in oysters, beef, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, cashews, and hemp seeds. I typically recommend 15-30 mg daily for adults, but zinc can interfere with copper absorption, so balance is crucial. Take zinc with food to avoid stomach upset, and don't take it at the same time as calcium or iron supplements as they compete for absorption. Parents often tell me that their children with ADHD show dramatically better self-control and less hyperactivity after addressing zinc deficiency through both targeted foods and careful supplementation. Adult patients report being able to sit through meetings without fidgeting constantly and thinking before speaking in conversations. B complex, the energy coordinator. Instead of trying to balance individual B vitamins, a high-quality B complex can provide comprehensive support for your nervous system and impulse control. B vitamins work together synergistically. They support energy production at the cellular level, neurotransmitter synthesis, and stress management. When you're deficient in multiple B vitamins, which is common with ADHD, your brain simply can't regulate impulses effectively because it lacks the basic building blocks for proper function. B vitamins are water-soluble, which means your body doesn't store them well and they need to be replenished regularly. Stress, poor diet, alcohol, and certain medications can deplete B vitamins rapidly. People with ADHD often have higher stress levels and may not eat regularly or choose the most nutritious foods, making deficiency more likely. Look for a B complex with active forms of the vitamins. Methylated versions, like methylcobalamin, B12, and methylfolate are often better absorbed and utilized, especially if you have genetic variations that affect methylation. Take it in the morning with food because B vitamins can be energizing and might interfere with sleep if taken later in the day. I've seen countless patients experience better mood stability, energy regulation, and impulse control when they address multiple B vitamin deficiencies simultaneously rather than trying to fix just one at a time. The synergistic effect is often much more powerful than individual supplementation. I've worked with thousands of ADHD patients over my 12-year career, and I can tell you with complete confidence that nutritional support makes a real, measurable difference in impulse control. This isn't just my clinical observation. There's solid research backing up everything I'm sharing with you today. Just last month, I had a patient named Sarah who told me, "Dr. Thompson, for the first time in my adult life, I can actually pause before I speak. I'm not interrupting people constantly. I haven't made any impulsive purchases in 6 weeks, and I actually think through decisions instead of just reacting to everything." She had been struggling with impulse control for over 20 years, trying various medications and therapy approaches with limited success. Another patient, Mike, shared that after implementing these nutritional strategies, he stopped quitting jobs impulsively when he got frustrated. He's now been at the same company for over a year, a personal record for him. He said, I finally feel like I have a choice in how I respond to things instead of just being a victim of my impulses." This isn't about perfection. None of my patients become perfectly controlled overnight, and that's not the goal. It's about giving your brain the nutritional tools it needs to function optimally, so you have more choice and control in your responses. The research backs this up too. Studies consistently show that people with ADHD who address nutritional deficiencies alongside their other treatments experience significantly better impulse control, mood stability, and overall quality of life. You're not broken, lazy, or lacking willpower. Your brain just needs the right support to function at its best. These vitamins provide that foundational support at the biochemical level. Here's exactly what I want you to do starting today. Pick just one of these 7 vitamins to focus on this week. Don't try to overhaul your entire supplement routine at once. That's actually an impulsive decision that often backfires and leads to overwhelm and abandonment of the whole plan. Look back at the 7 vitamins I discussed and choose the one that resonated most strongly with you. Maybe it's magnesium if you feel constantly wired and anxious, omega-3s if you struggle with brain fog and emotional volatility, or vitamin D if you know you don't get much sunlight and feel mood swings throughout the day. Once you've chosen your starting vitamin, do some research on high-quality brands. Not all supplements are created equal. Get your levels tested if possible, especially for vitamin D and B12, so you know your baseline. Choose a high-quality supplement from a reputable manufacturer that third-party tests their products and give it at least 4 to 6 weeks to work consistently. Remember, your brain didn't develop these patterns overnight, and nutritional healing takes time. Be patient with the process and with yourself. Start a simple journal to track any changes you notice in your impulse control, mood, or energy levels. If this video has given you hope and practical strategies you can actually implement to improve your impulse control, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on. I create evidence-based content specifically for people with ADHD who want to feel more in control of their lives using natural approaches alongside their other treatments. Share this video with someone you know who struggles with impulsivity. Whether they have ADHD or not, this information might be exactly what they need to hear today. Sometimes we don't realize how much our nutrition affects our brain function until someone points it out. I'd absolutely love to know in the comments, Which of these 7 vitamins are you most excited to try? And have you already noticed any connection between your diet, supplement routine, and your impulse control? Have you ever noticed that you're more impulsive when you're not eating well or not taking care of your basic nutritional needs? Your experience and insights could help someone else on their journey to better self-regulation. Remember, managing ADHD impulsivity isn't about developing superhuman willpower or forcing yourself to be someone you're not. It's about giving your unique, amazing brain the nutritional support it needs to thrive and function optimally. You absolutely deserve to feel in control of your choices and your life. And these 7 vitamins can be powerful tools in your toolkit for creating that sense of control and stability you've been seeking.